Calm. Everybody stay calm. Julian Alaphilippe answering the critics, of which his team manager has been one in the Critérium du Dauphiné. Christophe Laporte won the stage yesterday, but that was a flatter finish after arguably a harder stage beforehand. Now we go to the Seat of God for stage 2, which it's an uphill finish. It's kind of like the Bellante finish in Tirreno Adriatico between Van der Poel and Pogacar and Co. years ago. In 2021, not that long ago, actually. And yeah, it wasn't as hard a stage, but it still had a 1k 8% climb, about 9k's from the finish, and then an uphill finish. Strong break went again with Pierre de Latour, Nance Peters, Andrea Piccolo, Campenaerts, and Gregard, and Van Baarle was chasing, just like yesterday, for Christophe Laporte, going for stage win number 2, and because he's in the yellow jersey. Would Vingegaard have to do a lead-out again? But Quickstep were helping with more fervour today as well. Dries Devenines, and we didn't really know who for during the stage. It could have been for Vernon, it could have been for Baggioli, it could have been for Alaphilippe, but he's not been Alaphilippe of yesteryear. But there was loads of cramps today. Grandin had been in the break. He cramped the first of one, and it wasn't an isolated occurrence. Campenaerts didn't reoccur, but then Pierre de Latour, it looked like a mech, but I think it was cramps. Because he would have, I don't know, I think he had cramps. Then Mauro van Sevenot's eating into the gap for Quickstep, bring it down to 18 seconds. Then the GC team start to get involved because, well, it's a nervous run-in. Everybody wants to stay safe. Adam Yates, David Gaudu, Enric Mas, etc. They nearly caught the breakaway. And just like yesterday, two escapees, and Elisond and Campenaerts smile at each other and go ahead. And the GC teams aren't interested in really bringing them back. It's Jumbo-Visma and Quickstep who want to, and Jayco and Bora with Bennett and Groenewegen who are hoping that their two purer sprinters can make it to the finish. But it's pretty much all uphill from here. Castroviejo then cramps, a guy who I think I haven't seen him having trouble in hot weather, and it's not that hot either, so I don't know what was going on. I don't know what happened today. 3 different riders I saw cramping. Anyway, Movistar and UAE keeping Mas and Yates forward. Elisond getting mad at Campenaerts, but we're coming in. This is the left turn into the 1k 8% climb, and we're thinking, are Jumbo going to split it like Paris last year, like Calais stage of Tour de France? We didn't see the positioning, the entry. Van Baarle is off the back. He'd been pulling all day, but it kind of looked like that was the plan because Van Hooydonk's ripping it. You see, like, people are getting put out the back. It's nearly getting put in a line, but he's flicking the elbow furiously at this point. Looks back, flicks again, stops, and that's a Jonas Vingegaard, 10k's to the finish. No Volta, no Benoit up here in position. So presumably the plan was for Volta or Benoit to smack it afterwards. I don't know, because Jonas is looking around. Then EF start to move across. Martin moves out. O'Connor's like, actually, well, Vingegaard's going to attack. He's looking across like, well, what's going on here? I better follow him. Jorgensen's there for Movistar, and Bernal's there, and Carapaz. They're all the GC guys have found out, but nobody's moving. Everyone keeps the pistols in the holsters because, well, it's still 10k's to finish. It's not a GC day. So Tobias Bayer is one of the only riders not a GC threat who sneaks up the outside. Genietz would have loved to see him attack, but he's on David Gaudu babysitting duties. And then it's Volta moves up eventually because it was narrow and blocked. It gets a bit wider there, and he starts to set a pace for Vingegaard, I guess, but mostly for the Laporte stage win, which they've been chasing all day. So Bayer, not a huge problem, but if Jumbo were going to split the race on that climb, it didn't happen. And now they sort of got to go into chase mode. More importantly, the group did the climb maybe 7-10 seconds slower than they could have otherwise. And we're looking for Bennett and Groenewegen. It's difficult to spot them in here, but we didn't see them at the back dropped. And usually the cameras have been pretty good showing that yesterday. And so we can safely assume they're in here somewhere with the hardest climb done. And that is confirmed when they show the overhead here. Jayco jerseys moving up, Bora Hansgrohe in front, and there's a bit of flat where they can freewheel. And their guys are moving them into good position. Van Poppel does a pretty good job. Him and Pollitt for Bennett. He starts in a really good position. Bennett moved on to basically Vingegaard and Laporte's wheel before Sweeney attacks after Bayer's brought back. A nice move, but unfortunately for him, Quickstep had numbers. They had more numbers, in fact, at Jumbo at this point, with Van Sevenot, with Baggioli, it's Cavagna at the back, and then Benoit takes over. So very difficult to attack in this phase. I want to point out here, Nairo Tesfazion now, he comes third in this stage. It's his best World Tour result yet. He's positioning himself. He gets no lead out. He comes third. He's a really, really good rider. And stuff like having a rider position you in this section where they're going 50 kph up a false flat drag is really, really important. And yeah, so I just wanted to give him a shout out basically. But EF had numbers too, and they looked dangerous with Groenewegen slipping positions. He eventually would get dropped. Jack Haig, I think maybe was going for a little dig here in case Jonas didn't start, but you see Jonas just accelerates really, really hard. Haig is probably also going for right. He was trying to move right up. And then EF attack off the Vingegaard pace. Sean Quinn, I believe, the American, attacks with Carapaz sitting in the wheel's fifth wheel. And so if you see the overhead here, Bennett's been left in magic position by Van Poppel, fourth wheel on Laporte's wheel. You couldn't hope for a better wheel. Alaphilippe is on Carapaz's wheel, just a little bit deeper, and Laporte's actually probably happy Haig is there because he gets a better draft than sitting behind Jonas Vingegaard. Haig eventually pulls out, and Vingegaard rips it back to Quinn, but I think deadens the legs of Laporte, who's looking around, and the pace really slows when Carapaz attacks. El Jaguar sensed the moment, goes the long way around, catches Laporte by surprise, that's for sure. But unfortunately for him, Julian Alaphilippe was back. If you see here, Alaphilippe goes into the slipstream of Bennett, switches off somewhat erratically into Carapaz's slipstream, whilst Laporte is caught flat-footed, and Carapaz jumped when Quinn was brought back. So perfect move from Carapaz. Maybe no one jumps into his draft and he wins this stage. Unfortunately for him, Jala had other ideas and just beats Laporte straight up, not even close on this drag. So is he back to his best? I'm not sure, but this was a damn impressive stage win from Alaphilippe, who's been criticised a lot. Not really by the media. I mean, I've been sitting on the Lanterne Rouge cycling podcast every day bashing Alaphilippe. Yeah, he didn't have the best spring, but he had a lot of crashes last year, and the Vuelta is a good domestique. It's mainly his team manager who's been criticising him, and whether that criticism motivated him or paid off, I'm not sure. That's for Alaphilippe to know. But if he was going to strike a purple vein of form, purple patch of form, no better time than 3-4 weeks before a punchy Grand Depart in the Basque Country where the yellow jersey is on offer for someone with his characteristics on stage one. He did it in 2021 on the Côte de Fossor Loop, the Wolfpack. But Laporte keeps yellow based on stage positions across the two stages. Is that an AI-generated graphic of him? It looks kind of strange, doesn't he? Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow for stage 3. It's more of a sprint stage in that Groenewegen and Bennett might make it. Here's hoping they do. Those teams will be pacing, and it should be an interesting finish. Until then, ciao.